Hey everyone, Brad back with your weekly overview of programming. So moving on to week 3. So hopefully last week you guys had a chance to try out some of the workouts. We had a good one on Monday with the 100 kettlebell swings and every time you break the burpees. Hopefully you had some fun challenging yourself on those. And so basically this week we're going to continue progressing on some of the things we've been working on and kind of continuing to move forward. So this week's going to be important to kind of look back at your numbers because we're going to use some of those numbers to work off percentages. So this week we're looking to get very specific work done so that next week we can max out some of these things and truly test the rep schemes we've been working with. So we start off with day 1. So day 1 we're sticking with our back squats. So what you're going to use in terms of number and figuring out where you're going to work for today is we're going to use 90% of the best 5 rep you've performed over the last 2 weeks. So if you've done 200 pounds, so you take 20 pounds off, so obviously if you did 200 pounds for 5 reps, you take 10% off of that, which would give you 180. So at that point, you perform 3 working sets of 5 at your 180 pounds. So today we're just more or less looking to build volume across the squats at a manageable weight. So obviously that's not, the 3x5 does not include your warming up and any other sets that kind of get you to your working weight. In between, continuing with working on pull-ups and muscle-up work. So looking for about 5 sets of work in between your squats, so that way we're making sure we get enough rest, and that way we can use a muscle group that's not necessarily going to affect our squatting directly. So yeah, building that on last week. For everything else, so if you need to modify the squats or anything that's like kind of barbell related, checking out in the Zen Planner will always have the option, and we've got an ongoing progression with the at-home work also. So for the workout for that day, we're gonna do 5 rounds. It's based on DT. DT is 12 deadlifts, 9 hang power cleans, 6 shoulder overhead for 5 rounds, typically at the same weight. So today, we try and encourage people to possibly go heavier and test the waters. We're gonna have an ascending progression here. So you're gonna do first 2 rounds at 95 or 65 for the women. Next 2 rounds a little heavier, and the last round being your 5th round will be at its heaviest weight. So if it's not RX weights, that's fine. Just dial back to pick something that you think you can increase on. At no point should any of this be heavy singles. I think for most people, it's going to be their ability to hang on for the hang power cleans and your ability to move the bar on the shoulder to overhead. So if you think the shoulder to overhead, you don't think you can get at least 2 of that last weight, you're probably ending too heavy. You should be able to kind of still break that up 3 and 3 at the heavier weight, so that way you're not stuck too long once you get to that point, right? So you gotta keep in mind you have 4 rounds of fatigue getting to that point in the workout. So from there, moving on to day 2. So day 2, we've been working on snatches. We saw 2 rep max, we saw 3 rep max. If you have previous 1 rep max, you can use that number. So basically use your highest number for snatches, and we're gonna base that on percentage, right? So if you're just using something simple here, so say 100 is your 1 rep max, and doing 70%, so 70 pounds for 3 reps. So again, power squat variation. So whatever variation you've been working on, I continue to work on. So if you've been working on that squat, keep working on that squat so you don't bias or skew your numbers. From there, making your way down, 80 for 2, 85 for 1, 80 for 1. So these becoming heavier singles, and then from there, I want you to work up, and you're allowed 1 miss. So what does that mean is, if we have a bit of an off cliff, I want you to redo it and see if you can kind of hit it and then kind of move on. If not, we'll kind of shut it down for the day. So if it feels good, it gives you an opportunity to really build up heavy. If we're having a bit of an off day, chance for a bit of extra work, but once your body says it's enough, we'll move on. So in between that, we're keeping our box jumps, so we're trying to work a little higher since we saw 5 sets of 5 last week. We'll do probably shoot for like 5 sets of 3 and try to build up your height if possible. From there, workouts for day 2, 4 rounds, 5 bar muscle ups, or it could be ring muscle ups too. If muscle ups are not an option, some kind of pulling and pressing combo. So something simple would be double up for rows and dips. So maybe we're doing 10 ring rows or 10 dumbbell rows and then 10 dips either on the rings or on a box. From there, 10 bar facing burpees. You don't have a bar facing a dumbbell will work, so just get something that you can face an object and jump over. And the last one would be a cal bike. So if you're at home, be a skipping option or some kind of cardio option to replace the bike. But the bike, 24 cals for the men, 18 for the ladies, and go off that way. Starting to get nicer out, so possibly you can always sub that out for a round. Day 3, continue to work on our deadlifts. So the deadlifts, we've kind of had a similar progression to the back squat, so we're going to stick with the same theme. You grab 9% of your best 5 rep max deadlift, and then you're going to do 3 working sets of 5 reps at that weight. In between, we're going to keep working on our bench, so we got a chance to max out our bench press. So we're going to go to a 5-3-1 progression and give you a chance to kind of reach that number. Now you got an idea of what's heavy for one, gives you a better target to work towards, and then hopefully we can build volume and potentially push those numbers. If it's not bench, it could be a strict press or any other kind of like pressing movement. From there, our workout is going to be 4 sets. We're going to do 3-minute AMRAP, and we're going to rest 1 minute after each set. So you're going to do basically 4 rounds of 3 minutes on, 1 minute of rest. Continue taking off from where you ended each time, so that way it's just like one continuous AMRAP, just broken up with the rest. So 14 air squats. You could add weight to this. If you do choose to add weight, make sure it's something you can keep unbroken. So I don't expect you to need to put the weight down or stop for these squats. From there, 12 toes to bar. That can always be a sit-up too, a knee raise, depending on what you got available to you. And then the other one's gonna be a sumo deadlift high pull. It's been a little while since we've done these. If you got a bar, great. If not, that's a great movement to do with the kettlebell. You can even kind of work it around with your dumbbell. So just making sure that we're setting up more of a sumo stance, trying to get our butt back and driving through the hips, kind of like our clean, and then trying to aim for roughly our collarbone, right? So keeping those elbows outside. We don't want the weight to drift too far forward to where our shoulders are rounded, right? So we should still sit back and keep our shoulders in a good position as we rise up. So 10 of those. So obviously the accumulation for that day. So day 4 would technically be our EMOM day. So if you take a look on Zen Planner, you'll be able to see that there. So more or less the focus is just movement, get you guys moving, loosened up, just get a good sweat, so get you ready for your Friday session. Day 5, clean jerk and handstand work. So clean jerk, we're gonna roll the same progression as your snatches. So if you've been squat, cleaning, power cleaning, push jerk, split jerk, keep the same combo you've been working on because we're trying to work on that progression. So 70% of obviously your best clean and jerk, like to date, right? So over the last 2 weeks. So doing 3 reps, 2 reps, 1 rep, 1 rep. And again, you can work up. You're getting basically the green light to work up here, so it feels good. Build up strategically, right? So don't take too big of a jump, so that way you give yourself a chance to potentially get something heavy for the day. Like I said, if things just aren't going your way for that day, go to the point that you miss, maybe retry, and then after that, just look to shut it down. From there, work out a little bit more of a chipper. So 50 wall balls, 30 push-ups, 800 meter row, so again, that can be subbed out for a run. 25 wall balls, 15 push-ups, 400 meter row. So starting out a little heavier, so a little bit more planning in terms of how big the sets are going to be and what you're capable of doing. So when it comes to the push-ups, you're going to be getting off the wall balls, your arms are going to be tired, so have a plan. When it comes to your aerobic effort, whether it's rowing, running, try to settle into a pace and try to be consistent over a longer distance. Same goes when you come back to the wall ball. Yes, it's less reps, we'll get higher fatigue, so try to maybe stick to the same plan or the same kind of sets you had early on, and just apply that to the smaller numbers. From there, so technically our day 6 or our extra day would be aerobic work. So if you've checked it out for the last 2 weeks, it's a running workout based on specific distances and things like that. So if you can get to a track or specific distances down the street or whatnot, that's a good way to tackle it. If not, if you're using like a stationary bike or anything like that, I'd look to double the distance of whatever's on the running workout for the aerobic day. If you're on a rower or any other kind of machine, I'd probably keep the distances the same. It could also be done on just a regular pedal bike too outside. And again, I'd double the distance because obviously you're able to go a little quicker. So like always, if you got any questions, don't be scared to reach out. So we're looking to just have a good solid week here of volume, so that way we're getting our body prepped and primed to max out next week. So hopefully you guys have a good week, and we'll catch you next week.